Science with Shields. I'm Christy Shields, and today we're going to be using apples for our science experiment. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but fruits can brown, and so we're going to see what it takes to make sure that an apple doesn't turn brown. So I'm going to put my safety goggles on. We really don't need them for this, but we're going to put them on anyways, and let's try to see what we can do. So first, you need an apple. That's number one, and then you need some things that you can find in your kitchen, which includes milk, baking soda, vinegar, also water and lemon juice. That's what we're going to use for this experiment. So we kind of have one already going right here. You can kind of see that. I'll move my beaker out of the way. You can see that we've got this already going. It's been going for about a day at this point to see how water or whatever substance you use can impact the apple. So first what we're going to do is we're going to take cups and we're going to write on them. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you need 6 cups. And we're going to start by using a Sharpie is the easiest. The first thing we're going to do is write control, or you can write air depending on what you want. And this is the cup we're going to stick just an apple in. But in science, we like to call that the control. So this is what happens if you do nothing to the apple. So we're going to stick that down there. And the next one we're going to do is we're going to write water, because we're going to stick the apple in water, see what happens with that. So water, and I'm not well, I know how to spell water, but I'm not the best speller, so we'll see how this goes as we continue. The next one is lemon juice, so we're going to write lemon on this one. So we got that cup. And the next one is baking soda. We have that written on the cup. And then we have milk or cream, depending on what you want to use and what you have. So we have milk. And I believe we need one more for vinegar. All right, so we have all of our cups already lined up and ready to go. So next we want to cut the apple. Now I already cut one yesterday, and you can see already how brown by and I kept it in a bag, tried to get the air out of it, and that sometimes can keep, but you can still see the apple kind of turned brown as we cut that again yesterday. So it's already a little bit brown. So I do have a fresh apple as well. So we're going to use the fresh apple and cut it. I am not the best cook, so we'll see how this goes cutting an apple. And you probably can make fun of me for how I cut an apple. So kids at home, if you're doing this, best if your parents cut the apple for you. I probably should have my parent cutting this apple for me today, because I, like I said, very rarely use a knife. Still not through the whole way, but we'll do this instead. We'll cut a chunk out. This is kind of embarrassing because like I said, it's very rare I use a knife. Okay, so we've got a chunk of our apple out. You can see the other half of the apple, and I'm going to cut this into small pieces now. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to put this knife away, we no longer need it. Okay, so we have our pieces of apple, and we're going to stick them into these cups. So I'm going to move these ones out of the way for a second. We'll come back to those shortly. And we will stick these ones in. So first we're going to stick the control in. Again, that is just a piece of apple with just air. So we're going to stick that in, and we've got that ready to go. Next, we're going to need some water. So I'm going to go back to the sink here and fill this up. And we will stick a piece of apple into the water. All right. The next is baking soda. So I'll stick my piece in, and then I'm going to just sprinkle some baking soda on top of this piece. So we've got the baking soda on top. You can see it there. I bend it down a little bit. There we go. You can kind of see the baking soda on top of it. And next we are going to put vinegar in this one. So I'll stick the apple piece in first, and then I'll get my vinegar. All right. The next one is milk or cream. I have cream right now for a different experiment, so that's what we're going to use, but it's kind of the same thing. So we'll stick our piece in, and we'll add some of that milk or cream. Right, there we go. You can kind of see it. And then we are going to do a little bit of a solution for the last one. We're gonna make it lemon water just to make it a little bit easier so you don't have to use up all of your lemon juice, or you can use a real lemon if you want. So we're gonna squirt some lemon juice on the apple. And then we're gonna add a little bit of a water solution to this one, but again, it's the lemon that's going to make an impact on this. And you wanna add a little bit of lemon. Okay. So now the problem is we've got to wait, and you can wait days and check it out. You want to wait hours, and you want to keep a tab of what's going on with this experiment. So let's bring up the graphic to talk about what's happening, and I'll show you what ends up happening here with our stuff that we did yesterday. So science behind it, apple oxidization. So what's going on is oxygen reacts with the chemicals in the apple, turning them brown. This happens to bananas and other sorts of fruit. Oxidation is a chemical process when a substance gains oxygen or loses electrons and hydrogen, and you can prevent this oxidization with vitamin C, which is ascorbic acid. So we can do this with vitamin C. So out of what we did here, what do you think has some vitamin C in it? Well, let's see. So first we're gonna take out the vinegar. Well, first let's look at the control, because that's probably the best thing. So I'm gonna take this out, and you can see that our apple over the day has browned a little bit, right? You can kind of tell that this was a little bit on the brown side. It's already starting that process. And again, it's been about 24 hours since I did that. So let's compare the control to the vinegar apple. And you can see the vinegar apple actually kind of turned a little bit more brown. And this could be because vinegar kind of has a brown color as it is, but also it did not prevent the apple from browning, correct? So this probably isn't our best option, so we'll stick that back in. And next we have the baking soda. And the baking soda actually made it even worse. If you take a look at the apple, it's actually browning even quicker here with the vinegar. Oops. So you can kind of tell that this did not really work. And it's really browning the apple, the skin of the apple. So baking soda, not our best option. So let's take a look at the milk. This is the one I really don't want to touch. And we may need to rinse this off a little bit. And the milk kind of did an okay job with this. If we can take a look here. It's not that brown, so milk possibly could have some vitamin C in it. So the milk, not too bad of a thing. Now let's take a look at the water. Oh my goodness. The water really did not help this process at all. You can see that the water has made the apple very brown. So don't want to stick it in water. And the last thing we want to look at is our lemon juice solution. So let's take a look. And you can see in the lemon juice, the apple looks exactly how it should, with no brown anywhere really. And if you take a look at the skin, nothing is browning on the skin either. It looks like a perfectly good apple. And that's because lemon juice, or any fruit for that matter that's citric, is going to have that vitamin C in it. Like lemon juice, orange juice, all going to work to make sure that the apple does not brown. So that's a little bit of science behind the oxidization of an apple. If we want to take a look at the graphic again, I'm having a really hard time saying that today. But again, oxygen's reacting with chemicals in the apple, turning them brown. Oxidization is a chemical process when a substance gains oxygen or loses electrons and hydrogen, and you can prevent it with vitamin C, which means if you stick an apple and a water lemon solution or a water orange solution, it's going to preserve your apple. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Science with Shields. We've got a lot more coming up for you in the next couple weeks.